Hello, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Welcome to a Zendikar Rising Best of 3 traditional draft on MTG Arena with Travis, Semulin Sowers, and Chat. Chat, say hello to YouTube. If you'd like to watch the drafting live, you can do so at www.twitch.tv/Semulin. We've opened a relatively weak pack. I think one of the uncommons is where we'd like to go with that. It's not crazy to say I'm going to take the Mythic and get some free gems, because we're not super likely to play any of this. But I think the cards to think about here are the uncommons. There's the Relic Golem if we can get into Rogues, the Gecko if we can get into Kicker, and the Vastwood Fortification is kind of like, okay, we could play that. Yeah, I think I can respect the Gecko and the Golem. I think I'm going to take the Golem just because there's not really any other Rogue cards here other than the Sky Dancer. And I'd rather get a good Rogue deck than a good Kicker deck, but we'll see what comes our way. I've had a lot of decks where the Gecko has just ended up as like a 2/2 for 2. Would pair a little better with this guy. And again, I think we're going to look at the uncommons here rather than the commons. If there was a removal spell in this line, we could talk about it. But there isn't, and I think the Sproutling the best card here. We're going to grab that and see where it goes. We could get into Golgari. We could get into Blue-Green Kicker. We could get into Green-Red Kicker. You can get back your Scorched Riders with this dude. It's not bad. Then haste them out. It doesn't go in the same deck with the Relic Golem, but that doesn't particularly matter yet. We won't really get strong signals for a couple more packs. This pack has some thoughts about playing Rogues, doesn't it? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards that would go really well in a Rogues deck. For me, I think the pick again comes down to the uncommons, and it's do we want to kind of commit to the Rogue plan with the Sure-Footed Infiltrator, or do we want to take the Black Bloom Rogue, which could still go in a Golgari deck and leave us slightly open? Because I have not found this to be good in Blue-Green. There's enough Rogues that you can make it unblockable. It's just, the sizing is just wrong. Rogues want to get ahead first and then get into this. It's a really good Rogue pack. I think I'm going to go with the Black Bloom Rogue. Just because I still want to try to leave ourselves open to 2 paths. But it won't take much more to put me straight in on Rogues. And here's an actively good blue rare. Like, the end of the royal would have been enough here. It's worth noting that this can go in Kicker decks, too. It is a Rogue, which is relevant. It's also a 2/1 flyer. There's enough Pack Beasts and Kite Sails floating around that you can get some value off of it. I've even stolen a Gateway Colossus off of it before, whatever the big 7/5 thing is. Like, you can do that. But this could still leave us right into Kicker, because you can buy this back with the Sproutling. And it's usually pick 5 that you get your strongest signal, but I think we're kind of committed to we're going to do something with blue, because there was too much blue there for us not to go in. So here's a bit of a signal in the Root Grazer. Maybe your table hates Visionary and you get back the Rogue cards. You get one back if the Rogue cards don't. Maybe. Yeah, I haven't stolen, I don't think I've stolen a Relic Golem yet, but it's kind of asking us, do we want to commit to this Rogue plan now, or do we want to still leave ourselves open to some very different possibilities? And I think I'd like to make a little nod here. I think we've seen enough indication that we can get there with the Rogue deck. These Geopedes are scary, and you can do some work with them, but I'm kind of ready to say, you know what, we're probably a Rogue deck. I don't mind the first Subtle Strike. And we've already got 3/3 drops, really only one of which can block well. And there's still a possibility we're set up for Golgari things, but I think I like the first Subtle Strike here. Pretty happy to play a Jawari Disruption. There's an indication here that we could be doing this, right? Like, that's a little scary to still see there as well, because that's going very late. And it's not crazy for us to abandon ship and take it. That's a bit of a turning point. Because, like, I'm not sure how valuable the Jawari disruption is actually going to be, but I think we're so many picks deep that I'm going to let this go. I have respect for the War Leader. I've seen it do very good things. And here there's cards that pair with it where there's really not anything for us. I'm going to take the Deliberate here as I think it's a little better at digging. Well, no, that's not fair. I'm going to take the Spell Shield. If we get a kicker payoff like a Roost of Drakes, I'll play it. Man, that was one of the cards I was considering taking. It's worth noting there was one other rogue card here and it's missing. So somebody took the Sky Dancer. Not that far off from just playing a Ghastly Gloom Hunter and calling it done. Because I'm not sure that the rogue deck really wants this. It could. But I'm taking this mainly so we could pivot to Golgari if we wanted to. Because the blue was like incredibly open and then gone. So I'm leaving us Golgari as a little bit of an out here. It would mean losing 3 cards, but we'd still have some playable stuff. Yeah, red-white is kind of open too. This is playable too. We've got Thwart the Grave versus Infiltrator. I think we need to take the Thwart the Grave and just leave ourselves open to that Golgari possibility. Because I think what we've determined here is with the Thwart the Grave and the Subtle Strike and the Black Bloom Rogue, we can pretty safely say we're black. We've got a reason to be playing black. We don't have a real reason to be playing the other colors. Yeah, I think Thwart is clearly above. If we knew we were going to get into rogues, I think I'd rather have the Infiltrator. But I'm still just not 100% certain on that. Because we've got basically these 3 cards that are saying you need to play rogues. And like Dauntless Survivor isn't saying you need to play Golgari, it's just saying it'd be nice with it. Which kind of leads me to the Blood Beckoning here. Oh, I like the Infiltrator a lot. I just don't like it outside of blue-black specifically. I've tried to play it in green, but it means you're doing weird stuff to get it through. I'm taking the Blood Beckoning here. We know we're black, and this kind of solidifies us there. There's an argument that I should just take the Balagad Recovery, actually, because I've already got this. I could also just take a Field Research, but I'm going to be weak here. My issue with the Rogue, the Infiltrator, is you end up tapping a 1/1 Death Touch or playing a 1/4 Reach, and you don't want to do either of those things. You don't want to play a 1/4 Reach, and you don't want to tap a 1/1 Death Touch to get something through. Right, I think we are finding indications that we should be playing Golgari here. Red-white was indeed open as well. Like, if we had jumped ship there, I think we could put together a decent red-white deck. But we're seeing a payoff for Golgari and another solid Golgari card here. I'm going to take the black one last time, and the Rabid Bite out of this pack will put us firmly in. I was expecting a Rabid Bite in this pack, and there isn't one, and I'm confused and saddened. Caubria Takedown's the best card here. All right, I'll take one more rogue card. All right, it's time to make a decision. And I honestly think the right call was to get into red-white a while ago. I think I missed the bus on that one. I think I like the big cleric too. The challenge with this deck is it's missing some pieces, and we kind of need to get them past. I don't know how I get a 4th pick or 3rd pick Thieving Skydiver, and this color pair isn't open. Or at least that color just seems to be entirely closed to us. This got hard all of a sudden. I was not prepared for it to get hard. I suspect we end up playing this Constrictor, but that's way too early to be taking it. Now randomly blue-green? But if I'm playing the Constrictor, I need the Beetle. Alright, Gnarlwood Colony is nice to pick up here. I am happy about that. And we may end up having to play an Oblivion's Hunger. I would like to not play an Oblivion's Hunger. I'm usually happy with 1 spare supplies in this deck. I don't need a Dreadworm. I don't need a Brute. I need 2 removal spells and 2 2-drops. And I don't care what they are now. So we'll be on the lookout for those. Yeah, the Warriors deck would have been better. Nobody's taken it at this table. I think I got a little too hung up on the Skydiver being a signal. And it may just be that other people don't value a 2/1 flyer for 2. Which is, I mean, I don't think terribly bright, because it's a really good card. It's also possible we see absurd blue this direction and I change my mind entirely. Skydiver's quite good. It is a powerful Magic card. Kinda sucks. The red-white deck would have been pretty good. But somebody at this table getting hooked up. That's good. I think for us, we're looking at a Scythe Cat. It does feel good to be back to my Golgari roots, though. Yeah, that's the funny thing. A 2/1 flyer for 2 is really good. A 1/1 flyer for 1 is really bad. And a lot of people don't know the difference. We may not be playing this currently. Acquisitions Expert we're quite happy to find. It plays nicely with the reanimation spells. Vanquish the Weak would be literally the only interaction we have in this deck besides a Subtle Strike. It's not the best removal spell you can get, but when you don't have any, you get pretty excited about it. I would love to see another Dauntless Survivor. Frankly, I'd love to see a late Skellington. We've neither of those things. If you are playing McLord in your Golgari decks, things have gone terribly wrong for you. I don't think I actually want any of these cards. My creature count is good enough. Yeah, I'm thinking we could probably play another aesthetic, but if I take the Roiling Regrowth and find another one, I can pretty much definitely play them. So I think it's Roiling Regrowth, even though we don't really have any weird combos with it. Could sort of play this with these two, but I think we just need the 1/1 Death Toucher. It's another card that plays nicely with the reanimation effects. I also need a Broken Wings, but here we are. We want a Blood Priest? I kind of do want a Blood Priest. I kind of do want a Blood Priest. I like that with the Thwart the Grave. Okay, and we got something to finish a game with. We got there and we got something playable. Do you wanna pick a Blood Priest? We can play this. This didn't quite get there. But I suspect, we'd been talking about doing draft reviews today. I suspect if we go back and do a draft review on this, we would see that we should have been picking red-white a little bit higher. Because that was the actual signal that I got, not the Skydiver late. Alright, do I have to play a Brood? No, I don't have to play a Brood. I could cut the Zendikar for the Brood. I think I just want to play this as a creature, not a land. It's not like we have a bunch of them to pick up. Predation I'll play as a land, though, because I don't think we need the Skulker. So that's a nice spin. We're already running 1 spare supplies, but I might want another in case somebody's running a lot of Mind Rots. Yeah, weird stuff was spinning. Really weird stuff was spinning. This gives us basically 18 and 17 lands, which I can dig. We didn't really get there on the sideboard cards. I don't think I want to play a 2/1 flyer in the blind. It having flash doesn't do a whole lot if you're not synergizing with it, and we don't really want to mill our opponents. You mill yourself with it? No. Because I'd probably mill myself if I could. This deck has got some loops and some power to it. Like, I don't hate it. I just feel like I messed up a little bit there. But that's all right. Let's see if we can get some wins with it. Regrowth has fetched 2 lands. It could potentially put extra counters on our Scythe Cat. But I mean, if you think about it, it's sort of like a divination. And this deck is interested in getting to 6 mana. Got a lot of warriors here. I think the deck plays it. Classic Golgari warriors. Yeah, I think that's correct, Quintus. I think that's correct. More warriors. I'm not done with mediocre warriors. I got plenty of mediocre warriors. And I think unless they mill one of our payoff cards, we're actively happy for them to be milling me. They've got a Steal Your Creature spell. They top decked a Low Mage's Domination. They will not be stealing any of my creatures. Unless it's that one. A Geezer Mage. Okay. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at I'd really like to have the 2 mana up for this, but I can basically make them chump it and play this. What do they take? They probably take my Scythe Cat. Yeah, I guess we could win the game too. How did we end? That doesn't make any sense. Thank you, chat. I told you guys Vanquish the Week was real good. I totally didn't see that we had that one. Go figure. Man, I'm tired, and it's not a good look for me. I don't think I want to play a 3 mana 2/1 flyer to try to counter 1/1 flyers. I could probably use a Zendikar though. It's just worth noting it's something that can't come back, but it's functionally a very similar card to Highborn Vampire. Because that's not doing a whole lot for us here. I didn't get enough sleep last night and it sucks. It's almost like having violent insurrections in your country will mess with your sleep schedule. Did you guys know that? I think I'm kind of happy to have him mill me with the blood beckoning in hand. Yeah, fair. It's actually worried about what might happen next. It's a really good spot to block a predation them, but I still don't want to do it. But I will say the GOP has done one good thing, and that's ensure that I will never, ever vote for a Republican again for the rest of my life. If they are complicit with this, then they gotta go. All of them. Everyone, every time. No questions. The thwart gets me a 5-5 and a 2-2 menace. That's not bad. That's a pretty good deal. Although what thwart gets me doesn't particularly change if I attack here and play the cleric. Because we're still not being raised. And now thwart got a little better. Yeah, we trade this for your wizard. Do I need to not blood beckoning something here? There's no reason not to blood beckoning the Sproutling. "10 power and 9 toughness for 4 mana is pretty good. I think we can all agree that's quite nice. The 3 life don't hurt either, do it? Let's start by seeing what you have in your Golgari Gripson. A Glacial Grasp, huh? And a Mind Drain. That's reasonable. So what are they going to do here? Flash one of them in and try to chump with it? Sure. They can flash one of them in, give this Death Touch. But this still ain't looking good for them. Hey, what's up, Thunder Dan? I like these blocks. There's a problem with them though, buddy. Not gonna work. Not gonna do it. I think if they mind rot me here, we should win with the Zendikar. If they're looking to do another flash flyer, we should still probably win with the Zendikar. Because they're at 4 and they got to deal with a lot of crap here. They even have good blocks for this. Like, I guess you block there, give it death touch, chump here, trade there is something. Put you at 1. I guess it puts you at 2. There's not one card that can save them here. Because they're forced to block the rogue. I will not be mind rotted, which is neat. I'll still play around another one from the top. But I shouldn't need to, because they're going to need one hell of a card to get them out of this. Well, Swamp's a pretty good card. It ain't that good. Yeah, they'd have to top deck a Shadow's Verdict, and then we just start the grind all over again. It was lethal, Thunderdan. They had to bounce the rogue. It was already at 5. All right, let's do our Stream Raiders battle, and then we can run the next round. No, I think he was thinking a line where they bounce the land, play a Mind Rot, destabilize at 1, and then cross their fingers. But if you don't kick it, it doesn't bounce anything. I'm so used to it bouncing too, sometimes I forget that it doesn't have to. Ah! They still got one Monster Factory, but I believe we got them here. Get wrecked. Dave with the kills, Jacques with the assists. Rewards for Schmuck, Kamon, Whiskey Papa, Abe, and Thangarth. Enjoy the spoils of victory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take the shorter route. More boss chests. Boop. Ooh-wee. So do we have any other ideas for what could be our big goal for the February stream? Anything you guys would like to see? I can't, well, I could shave my head again, but it seems like, you know, that the large impact has kind of been done from that. What just happened? I probably would like XCOM a lot. I've heard that that's kind of like sci-fi Darkest Dungeon. I suspect I'd really enjoy it. Okie dokie. Well, there you go. Both sides played hard. I have no idea what that was about. But it was weird. Yeah, I won't have enough hair left to dye it. I mean, this is fine a starter. I don't know what I'm thinking about here. Well, I'm thinking about XCOM is what I'm thinking about. And how I should have tried that game. Oh, garbage mirror, you say? I think we go for the hit here and then look to see if we can stabilize with the 3-4. This puts us a little soft to something like a Vanquish the Weak, but I think leaves us in a pretty good position otherwise. I wanted the counter here too for the Arbor Mage in the future. If they do hold back 2 blockers, that could be pretty interesting. Didn't play it, did not block with it. I assume they have a subtle strike of their own, but... I've gotten myself a bit behind. Also feel like they kind of have now too. If they can hold them back to block now, we in business. We got this. We got close to this. So short of a Might of Marasa, we should be okay. But all of them turns ago, when we put the counter on the thing, that was why we put the counter on the thing. So I need to believe they have another 3-2. I'm not quite sold. Okay, removal spells start. Do we have any kicker bros? Not yet. I think that leaves me wanting to just play out 2 threats. Because they'll need a creature and a removal spell to get there. Which they seem not to have. This pleases the Travis. They'd be Sky Dancing, which I think, again, favors me. If I could choose to mill myself with the Sky Dancer, I'd probably be playing it. Yeah, we could have blocked, though. But they do have a Zoff consumption. That's worth being aware of, that it exists in their deck. My own deck is pretty soft to Kite Sail. I suspect theirs is too. I probably don't need a spare supplies going on the draw anyway, so let's give it a shot. Sure, I was thinking if there's anything great to get back. Really what I was looking for was a Blood Beckoning. Nah, fine, you got me. Kind of the world's most obvious subtle strike, and I don't need to just straight up walk into it. They don't have one? That's surprising. I guess they just wanted to get a creature in the graveyard. Which is awkward, because I'm going to have to kind of give it to them. You got +2/+2? They do have +2/+2. They totally have a subtle strike. Which sucks, but this card is incredibly difficult to beat. I'm making it better, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. I can at least block this now and get the subtle strike out of the way. But that scavenger's kind of better than anything I have. I mean, if they're worried about this, that's good news. Why didn't they attack? Can't really afford to think about why they didn't attack. I don't feel like I can trade off a creature unless it's trading for that until I find a Kite Sail or Vanquish the Wake. Because the game's going to revolve around the scavenger until I do something about it. And if they're content to hold back, that's good news. If they're not, that's kind of bad because it leads to me trading creatures, which makes it grow out of range and me being able to stop the dang thing. I guess we confirm that they have a subtle strike. This is giving them the sorcery. It's now out of range. They don't have a subtle strike. They have an Oblivion's Hunger. Okay, so how close are they to this? This is 5, 6, 7, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They will be casting this in the next turn if I don't stop them. Like, they're a land away from that happening. I think we're currently at the Kite Sail being our only real way to stop that. I just want to get the Oblivion's Hunger out of their hand. Like, it sucks that this is continuing to grow. But I'm trying to leave them with less and less options. I don't think I can sit there and not play my cards for fear of the Scavenger. I wish I had a Broken Wings in this deck somewhere. At least they put that on not the Zoff consumption, which is good for us. This is why sometimes your deck needs removal. You don't care about any of the creatures they have except for that Scavenger. If we hadn't taken the Baloth, they would be casting it here. So, or whatever this thing is. Is it a Baloth? Yeah. Craig Plate Baloth. Rabid Bite? Ugh. I really need to draw my one of. Oh, this is bloody terrifying. Zendikar comes in. Little Strike doesn't do anything at all. That's the end of that. So I need to have more answers to this than they have copies of it. We already brought in the Kite Sail, which will help. I think I'd like the Zendikar as well. That means if we can catch it early, we've got Vanquish the Wake. If it's late, we're down to Kite Sail and Zendikar. There's also a possibility that they don't draw it, which would be my preference, but that may not be possible. I'm wondering if I need the spare supplies. I think I do. Means I can probably trim the Highborn Vampire. That ain't doing a lot for us. This is sort of an answer to it as well if the game goes on long enough. So at this point, we probably just cut the Roiling Regrowth. Because we're just going to get to a board stall, and then it's like, do they draw their one flyer before I draw my 2 flyers? In the form of Kite Sail and the Bat. The Bat can't come out on turn 2. This is okay. I don't mind running this out early because we've got a Blood Beckoning, and if you get it back with the Blood Beckoning, you get the Blood Beckoning back with it. And it's the circle of life. That was clearly a parody of Morag. This is a tough spot. Do I miss a land drop? I don't think I can. If this is land, I'm going to feel stupid and smart. Okay, but it's not, so that's acceptable. Because I've already got the Blood Beckoning. I'm going to want to cast it, and I'm going to want to hit enough lands to play the Gloom Hunter. Because if they ever play that Scavenger, we're just toast. What's up, Scotty? How have you been? You're going to have to use it on attacks. Careful and safe sounds good. Oh, I guess I should play this first. This is how it starts. What you got over there? I took an extra turn off to make sure I could get it back again, and I think it was worth it. Yeah, they figured that one out. This does not surprise me. Seems pretty good to me. I mean, Golgari can't lose. All right, quick break. I need a potty break, and then we'll play the last round. I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience. We return. Yes, this is a YouTube draft, but thanks to the power of OBS getting a pause button, I don't have to play while feeling like I'm going to pee in my britches. Which is never really a comfortable feeling, you know? Orcish, thank you for constantly engaging with YouTube. I think they appreciate you. We're going to have to take a chip break after this too, because I just realized that I could have chips, but I don't. So that seems like a pretty obvious fix. Fishing for a counterspell. They don't have one. That's good. This is more likely to get through because they're probably going to have a 3-drop, but if they don't, I can always cast the kitty next turn. Femur stuff, eh? Loothammer, thank you for the resub.
Helped me get back into this amazingly frustrating game. Thanks very much for all the content.
Thank you very much, Loothammer. Y'all spam some cats for Loothammer. Thank you, buddy. That's a lot of months, yo. Thank you very much. They could have a Wizard's Retort here. I'd prefer that they don't, but like it is what it is. I definitely want that dead. I need to see more cats. Come on, y'all. Thank you very much for the support and tuning in, bud. Glad to have you here. Rooster Drakes. That ain't great. Some might even say that's actively bad. I mean, for me, not for them. Ooh, lordy. This is not good. I think we got to trust in the deck. You're going to have to find me something, deck. It ain't got to be much. But it's going to have to be something. Because I don't know what they're sitting on, but I'm scared of it. I guess their hand could be all lands. That doesn't look like all lands to me. I don't have much of a choice here. I'd like to, but I just don't. It is incredibly difficult to beat. Rooster Drakes. We've still potentially got things like Thwart the Grave, and that may be the level of advantage we need to get back into this. I mean, I guess we make them kill off the kicker one so that if I top deck my draw spell, it does make sense to make them block the Sproutling. Because this gives us the opportunity to draw the Blood Priest for lethal. As well as if we draw the Blood Beckoning, we can start the chains a little earlier. I mean, they still currently need something. Like, they're looking to thin the deck. Do we know what the red's for? Maybe just a splash sorcerer? That's not crazy. They flooded out about as hard as I have. That's not... Well, I guess that's fine. Wallet Inspector, thank you very much.
Twitch finally let me watch another ad. I will unlock all emotes.
Thank you very much, Wallet Inspector. I appreciate that. More cat spam is in order. Spam them. You got me stuck. Is CBL down? Seems to be an old board state. It is not showing down on my end. However, I'm getting some serious interbutts lag. Alright, so their deck is Rooster Drakes and a bunch of land. Okay. I didn't think we were winning that when they slammed the Rooster Drakes. I thought that was game over, man. That does leave me a little more interested in the Zendikar. And probably don't need pair supplies when I'm going on the draw anyway. Yeah, that should leave us time to do the Stream Raiders battle. Don't want to hold y'all hostage. Otherwise, what's the point in having a Sim Raid emote? This is actually a bit of a tough fight, wasn't it? That's a lot of monsters over there. Fortunately, we got a lot of people who seem interested in lighting them on fire. So, barbecue monster for dinner, boys. Looks like meat's back on the menu. Alright, Jacques with the kills, Dan with the assists. Rewards for Lewis, the Ancient One, Kuya, and Adamaniac. And just in time, I managed to place a unit. I will be placing one quickly, because I do need this sideboard submitted. I've kept one landers before. I don't think that's strong enough. Close. Takes 18 lands. We're somewhat likely to hit, but that's better. That's better. I think we send back the Constrictor here, as I'd really like to play this out. I also really don't want to play out the Gloom Hunter on 2, but I may have to here. They didn't show me a ton of flyers. They did show me a pinger, but I think I need something that can start attacking. That's better than a lot of what I've got going on. I think I'm supposed to play this out as a land, acquisitions expert, make sure we can hit the aesthetic, and then Zendikar this, and that can kind of get us our value back, sort of. Sort of like getting 2 cards. But they got a Rooster Drakes here. I'm just in serious troubles. That don't help a whole lot. You like being greedier with the rogue? It's not doing anything yet. And we're likely to get to pick it back up with the Zendikar. You should probably play it a little more often than never. I don't often start with it in the main deck, but it's a pretty good sideboard card. That's fair. I don't play best of 1. It's a pretty good turn cycle for them. I need a lot of this dead for things to work out, but I can't really do any of it right this second. Yeah, it's a good place for it, generic guy. You can usually get them late in pack 1 too. They're not hotly contested. And as it turns out, I did need to take out that sorcerer that turn because I'm not anywhere near stable right now. Okay, at least I can take it out here and have a blocker for some stuff. But we're getting pretty low in the life totals here. So we're going to need something like Thwart the Grave to get back in, which we could find, but another kind of case study in why it sucks to mulligan. I don't think I'm planning any chaos today. I'm not feeling 100% today, Jaws. We've done them the rest of the days this week, though. Yeah, I think I got one more turn to find a Thwart the Grave and for them to stumble, or this one's over. This is indicative of a combat trick, which would be pretty bad for us, but not much I can do about it. Alright, so is there anything else I want that I don't have access to other than removal spells? Because, like, yeah, those would be swell. I feel like going back, I do want the spare supplies, but I still want the Zendikar. I want both. There's some argument to cut a land and just count this, but I mean, I feel like you can get into trouble either way. Maybe it's just roiling regrowth. I've been pretty satisfied to cut that. You ever plan chaos? Sure. I like to plan everything I can. Alright, it's got a curve. I like curves. It's a pretty good sign there. Nah, I think I'd rather have this down, because I can do that the turn after I play the cat if we really need to. Looks like we don't really need to. So this probably gets them to the Roost of Drakes. This definitely does. I'm tempted to just take the regrowth and see if we can capitalize on some mana troubles for them. Because if they're casting this to get it going, all of a sudden they have one less kicker spell. Why Adventurer versus Beetle there? It's 5 power. This is 3 power. It's a really good draw for us, potentially. I don't need the token that turn. We need to kill them before they draw a second blue. If they draw a second blue, I'm not winning. They've got a Might of Marasa. That's bloody terrifying. Like, if this stays alive, I'll get tokens over time. I'm not too concerned about that. They got a Sproutling? No, they've got a Royal Mage. We know they have a Royal Mage. What do they get back with it? Field Research? I feel like we swing team or don't swing here. Which is a really rough spot to be in. If they double block this, they end up taking 7, 8, 9, 10, which I like. If they double block, if they just eat this and eat that, they end up taking 6, 7, 8, which I like. That leads me to want to attack here. But you hold back the Horn Beetle, you don't attack. The menace is actually what matters here. They've got life gain in their deck. They've got more kickers. I'm not going to outvalue them. If there's a board state where they have 2 creatures and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I don't have attacks, we're never getting attacks. Because, like, surprise, they're going to have more creatures. That's legitimately probably the last attack we get for a while. Because I have to get something back. Well, I suppose the argument is what happens if we swing team here? They put these 2 here. They put these 2 here and take 3. Then they kill this with kicker and make another Drake. I'm not winning. We'd be happy with that? How would we be happy with that? I'm eliminating my board and they have a 2/2 at the end of it. That doesn't seem happy. That seems the opposite of happy. It clears most of their board and all of ours. Then they just untap and kill this and make that. I don't think I can afford that. I think we have to play this and play to the other outs that are in the deck, which are this can't get us at instant speed, but a top-decked Arbor Mage could win the game for us here. No, we don't swing for the Adventurer. I need enough damage on board. Right now, we're looking to stall until we can draw one of a very few closers. What You're Witnessing still got outs. That's fine. I'm happy with them killing that. What you're witnessing here is a game that is rapidly changing back and forth for who's the beatdown. I probably should have played the land, but they're going to kick it anyway. It doesn't matter. And for one turn, I was the beatdown. For the very next turn, I'm not. It's changing rapidly. So now we have to do the evaluation all over again of if we attack with everything, but there's a 4/4 in play. What are their blocks? What does that look like? They probably still double block this, eat this. No, that starts to get bad. They're going to have to gang block everything in front of this, trade here. That means they're taking close to lethal. So now all of a sudden we're interested in, now we're the beatdown again. And I may as well play around disruption. Like, it doesn't matter whether we play the land or not. They're going to kick it. They're going to get their drag. This is just a reminder that every turn you need to evaluate the board state. Attacks can be good one turn and bad the next. And then all of a sudden good again. I'm going to order the Drake first here, just in case they have another chilling trap. They don't. We're overall pretty happy with that. They can potentially get right back to stable right now with another wizard. Because a lot of the threats we're trying to kill them with are 1/1s. They don't have attacks, though, and we're still in a position where we can top deck the Taunting Arbor Mage and get them. Don't think... No, I do want the Sproutling in the graveyard. If I make them make this trade, they can't bubble snare it later. Because that's one of the ways for us to value get back in. There's the life gain. That's why we're trying to take them out faster. Subtle Strike changes the math enough that I can attack with one of the 1/1s. In case there's landfall cards that I've forgotten about in the deck, there's a world where we get this back in play and need the landfall. They're not going to make me discard it. Although, to be fair, I should probably play it out anyway, because we do still have the spare supplies in here. I don't think this is a swing team moment, but it might be close. Because I think the 1/1s have mostly lost their value. This is bloody terrifying. Yeah, this is bloody terrifying, but I have to make this play. If they've got anything, they've got me here. Well, if I don't take the Sorcerer off the board, the 1/1s don't do anything anyway. Like, I need them to be on nothing and top deck a land. Okay, so the good news here is, even if they top deck another kicker card, unless it's a creature with kicker, we can get through the Drake. The other good news is they need a counterspell first. And they didn't have it. So a big thing to learn as you're playing Magic is who's the beatdown. That's something that people talk about a lot in Magic, and it can change very rapidly, and it needs to be evaluated constantly. So the easiest way to figure it out is if you have good attacks, you probably have good attacks the next turn, but you need to ask yourself, did what they played or did what I draw change that? Haste creatures make a big effect in that, and knowing what they have in their hand makes a big effect on that. So as soon as we know that they have the Royal Eruption, we have to immediately pump the brakes. And then as soon as we draw the haste creature, we have to immediately reevaluate the board state. You know, there was an intense game where we basically never took damage, which kind of blows my mind. But a very old article by Michael Flores called "Who's the Beatdown?" Like that article is very old, but it's classic Magic theory. If you want to get better at Magic, that's a really good place to start. It's a really good place to start. Yeah, we weren't really under pressure of losing for a long time, but if they'd gotten to a point where they had a few kickers, we were in trouble. So I kind of had to play that very aggressively throughout the whole thing, because we knew from the opener, like, their opener was Roost of Drakes, Roiling Regrowth, Turnt Timber Aesthetic, Jorga Visionary, and a Reclaim the Wastes. If we don't take that Roiling Regrowth, they get this going a lot sooner. By taking the Regrowth, I made them spend the research to try to find it, which is cutting out some of their kicker spells. Like, all of that mattered. All of that mattered. Either way, that'll do it for the YouTube draft. YouTubers, thank you all for tuning in. If you would like to watch the draft live, you can do so at www.twitch.tv/SemulinChat. Say goodbye to YouTube.